like to highlight, so I'll be putting the mic over here, and if I need to highlight, I'll be putting the book down here and highlighting, but we'll see how it goes. I hope you guys are doing well, and maybe get some good advice out of this. I think I'm in a fun little section. I'll read you what I've been reading. So, also if you're new to my channel, I'm Olivia Partridge, and I live in a house with 4 other people, and I'm at uni right now, and I live next to a loud room, but I try my best, and I have other videos where I'm in a very quiet house if you're interested. This is just a chill video, okay? Styles of depressive thinking. How to develop helpful styles. This chapter looks in more detail. Actually, I want to bring this closer. This chapter looks in more detail at the kinds of ways our thoughts can become problematic for us when we get depressed, and how to work with them in a compassionate way. Depression can often be linked to difficult life situations, conflicts and problems in relationships or at work, or with finances or physical health, or feeling stuck in places we don't want to be. Coping with these can be hard, but it can become even harder because we become depressed. The way we think changes. Threat and loss-focused thoughts, interpretations and memories become much easier to bring to mind and dwell on. There's a shift to what is called a threat and loss bias, and then we are on a downward spiral. A typical spiral is outlined in figure 10.1. As our thinking follows the downward spiral, we start to look for evidence that confirms or fits our negative beliefs and feelings. We may start to remember other failures, and the feelings begin to spread out like a dark tide rolling in to cover the sands of our positive abilities. Such thoughts tend to lock in the depression. By the way, this book is called Overcoming Depression, 3rd edition by Paul Gilbert. Anyways, we may start to remember other failures, and the feelings begin to spread out like a dark tide rolling in to cover the sands of our positive abilities. Such thoughts tend to lock in the depression, deepen it, and make it more difficult to recover from. They drive a vicious circle of feeling, thinking and behaviour. This gives us one route into disrupting the depressing spirals. Certain styles of depressive thinking are fairly common. Professor Beck, who started cognitive therapy, noted about 6 or 7 types of negative thinking biases. We will explore some of them here. To work on our biases in a more balanced way, we have to 1. Recognize them, and 2. Make an effort to bring our rational and compassionate minds to the problem. It's important to recognize that humans are often not that logical or rational. We can be, but we have to work at it. In fact, a lot of research has shown that many of our ways of thinking about ourselves, other people, different groups, and our hopes for the future can become very biased and inaccurate, even at the best of times. So working for balance takes effort and training of our minds. Below we go through some typical biases that tend to appear with depression. We'll start with jumping to conclusions, because that's absolutely typical of threat-focused and better safe than sorry mind. Okay, so that's the intro. Now I'm going to read some things that I've highlighted. Sometimes feelings go back to childhood. If you have a fear of rejection or of losing a relationship, one way of helping might be to write down that fear and see if you can think of ways of coping. It's hard, but it helps us to actually shift our attention and think about how one could cope. Putting our thoughts into the mind of others. Another form of jumping to conclusions is called mind reading, or sometimes projection. We make assumptions about their thoughts and feelings. For example, we may automatically assume that people don't like us because we do not give sufficient cues or approval or liking us. In mind reading, we believe that we can intuitively know what others think. The key point here is mindfully examining your thoughts rather than automatically assuming that your thoughts about what other people are feeling and thinking are accurate. When we get depressed, we often think other people's withholding, avoiding, or ignoring behaviors are directed at us. And they're not. Okay, let's see. Here's some little advice instructions so we can read a few of these. Making a commitment to learn to tolerate your emotions. Develop an attitude of mindfulness with 2 types of focus. Sometimes distractions help. Focus on something outside of yourself in the here and now. The second form of focusing is to pay attention to how your emotions feel in your body. Become curious about them. Put your emotions into words as they're happening. Soothe your breathing rhythm. Make a commitment to not act on your emotions immediately. Remind yourself there's nothing wrong with you for feeling strong emotions. There's nothing wrong with you for feeling strong emotions. Okay, now we're at the bit that I haven't read, so I'll just do some highlighting. And then I'll read you what I've highlighted from these 2 pages. This other sound. Don't look at my hunchback. slow reader, so this is what I highlighted. I'll read you what I've highlighted. And these exercises, you're practicing buying time, being with your emotion and tolerating it. Regular practices of mindfulness and compassion work can actually help us become calmer inside. This is an example of, like, if you're religious, you could, I just thought this was interesting. He said, one woman thought about Jesus. If he can tolerate that, I can tolerate this. Not in a way to shame herself, rather to help herself feel one with the suffering of Jesus. The first step is really getting clear with the mind. The advantage of learning toleration, of putting up with painful feelings. I find this harder. It gets easier as it goes on. The more painful feelings. Oh goody. But yeah. Anyways. Because it can be really shocking when you start feeling like really bad. And you're like, whoa. Because you've never felt like that before, and it's like, it's sad because you feel bad, but it's also sad because you're like, whoa, I've never felt this bad before, you know. Anyways. One of the reasons that we can have problems with emotional tolerance is because our emotions can be more powerful and long-lasting than they need to be. Strong feelings and emotions pull and push us into thinking in certain ways, and this can happen despite the fact that we know it is irrational. I feel it, therefore it must be true. Feelings are very unreliable sources of truth. In their right place, feelings are enormously valuable, and indeed they give meaning and vitality to life. We are not computers, but when we use our feelings to do the work of our rational minds, we are liable to get into trouble. The strength of our feeling is not a good guide to reality or accuracy. So there we go. That is me done with reading, and I hope you guys liked some of that. Again, this is Overcoming Depression, 3rd edition, a self-help guide using cognitive behavioural techniques by Paul.